Today I'm going to be showing you part one of a blouse and skirt duo I have sewn. In this video I made McCall's 9757 blouse in view C, featured here, and I will show you how I upsized it to fit my bust size. This one is a size 10, so it's quite small, but no matter what pattern you have, you can upsize it to fit your body type, and that's the great thing. It just does take a bit extra work, but I think you're going to really enjoy this because it's a very simple pattern. So you can look here at this pattern map and you can see that view C only has 1, 2, 3, 4 parts, so it's quite simple to do. And it really didn't take that long at all, and it looks cute when it's finished. Okay, so looking a little close at the envelope, we can see some wear and tear here, but believe it or not, this one is in much better condition than the skirt I'm going to make. It's a miracle I had all the pieces for the skirt pattern because it's a bit tattered. But this one only has some, normal wear and tear, and it was pretty simple to follow. So this pattern is from the 1970s. Let me find the date on here. Oh, 1969. We're still in the 60s. So 1969. And yeah, I think you're really going to enjoy this. So let's jump into it. If you have this pattern or if you've made a blouse similar to this, I would love to hear about that in the comments. I want to know how it came out for you and what you thought of it. Okay, let's get started. Starting with the bodice pieces for view C, I have to do a little bit of math because this is a size 10 with a 32.5-inch bust. So I'm going to have to upsize it. So what I did was I put the bodice piece next to me, looked in the mirror, and I marked the apex of the bust line so I could find the bust line all the way across the front piece. And then I measured within the seam line to see really how big this is. And the front was 10.5 inches, which you of course take times 2. Because this is only half of the pattern. Okay, so that comes to 21. And then the back, about the same area, was just over 9 inches. So the back is a bit more narrow than the front. So altogether, that gave me 39 inches. My measurements are, I have a 44-inch bust. So I decided to add about 4 inches for ease because this is a non-stretch fabric and we want it to be very comfortable. So 44 plus 4 is 48 minus the 39 means I need to add 9 inches to this pattern. And I decided to do 2.5 inches on the front and then 2 inches on the back additionally and add it up together, obviously because you have to times by 2 by 2, you end up with 9 inches. And then I added 2 inches for length to make it a bit longer to both the front and the back. Okay, so as you can see, I've cut out the pattern pieces and marked where I've added length, the 2 inches here, 1.5 inches over here, 1/2 inch over here for the back. And then for the front piece, I added 1.5 inches on this side with the armhole, and 1 inch over here, and 2 inches down here. Oh, let me show you how I adjusted the sleeves. Because on the line with the armhole, I added 1.5 inches on this side on both the front and the back. I added 1.5 inches on either side over here to compensate and make them match up well. And the sleeves also I cut down. I don't want to do really long sleeves, so I cut them. Okay, so for blouse C, there are only 3 steps, and for the first step it says stitch sleeves to front and back, right sides together, matching notches and raw edges, clip curve. Got my sleeves in here, and it looks pretty big at this point. So hopefully I didn't make it too large, but also I do know this is a non-stretch cotton, so we don't want it to be very tight. And let me show you the inside of this. So I just ironed the edges inward, pinned them, and sewed all the way down the very edge of that. You can see right here, the top one. And I did that on both sides. Alright, so now I'm going to move on to the next step. Step number... well, it's still part of step number 1. Okay. It says, turn neck edge to inside on casing line and baste. Turn under 3/8 an inch on inner edge of casing and stitch to position, leaving an opening at one back seam to insert elastic. Okay, because that's where we're going to put the elastic for the neckline. Stitch underarm seams of sleeve and blouse matching cross seams. Okay, this part I already did. Turn lower edge of sleeve to inside on casing line and baste. Turn under 3/8 an inch on inner edge of casing and stitch to position, easing in casing and leaving an opening at underarm seam to insert elastic. Okay, so this is where I'm gonna differ. I don't think I want elastic in my sleeves. And then it tells you, of course, how long to cut the elastic and insert it at the neck casing. And of course on the sleeves, but again, I might alter that. And then go ahead and finish the lower edge, 3/8 an inch, lower edge of blouse, and press, stitch 1/4 an inch turned under edge. So that I will do. And then we're going to move on to the belt. Okay, I have pressed the space where I can put the elastic in. And I am going to go and just sew down the edge of this seam, of this line here, leaving one part open at the back, I believe it said. I think I will do it maybe from here, so I can pull the elastic through. Now that I have the casing sewn, I'm going to use the safety pin method to pull the elastic through, sew it together, and then close up the casing. Okay, so I've finished the neckline with the elastic. I've hemmed the sleeves, and the fit is good. I mean, I think it fits the way it's supposed to, but of course, since there's no darts, it's quite baggy. So I'm not sure I'll make anything without darts ever again, but it did come out correctly, and with a high-waisted skirt, I think it will look good, which is what I'm going to pair it with. So now the last step is to do the bow here. It says fold right sides together, stitch, leaving part of seam free for turning. Grade seam. Turn right side out, slip stitch opening edges together, make a bow. Center and sew bow to neck edge of front, being sure not to sew through elastic. Okay, so what I'm going to do for that, so I've made the ribbon here. I did a little bit different than their method. But still it's going to be fine. And then they say, oh, make a bow and sew it on, right? Well, how I'm going to do that is I am going to sew in the center here, just in the middle of the ribbon onto the shirt here. And then I'm going to tie the bow. That way, if I want to just loop it once or twice, if I want to do just like a single, what is that called? Maybe a single knot, or even just to leave it open. I can leave it open and it can just hang free. So I'm just going to stitch it in place in the middle part in the middle of the neckline, and then I will tie the bow after I've sewn it on. So I have stitched it on, and you see, like this, I can even leave it untied as a bow and just with a little knot hanging down, which is also very cute. Or of course I can tie it into a bow. Alright, the last thing I have to do is hem the bottom, which will take no time at all. And then this is finished, and I will move on to the skirt. Here it is on me, and please join me for my next video where I'll show you how to make this matching coordinating skirt. Thank you so much for watching. As always, please like, subscribe, put a comment, and see you next week.